is the most dangerous thing for any expat, in my opinion. As I said, it's not spoken about enough, and it's what gets most people. What's up, guys? This is Brett here from brettdev.com, and on this channel I talk about life in Thailand, becoming an expat. If you're interested in Thailand or becoming an expat yourself, then check out the link in the top left corner of this video. It's going to be very, very helpful for you. But today in this video, I want to talk about something that is relevant to a lot of people that I think isn't discussed enough, and that is addiction in Thailand. More so, foreigners coming to Thailand and becoming addicted to all kinds of things, whether that be alcohol, whether it be drugs, whether it be sex. Thailand is such a fun place that even people who aren't predisposed to addictions, they can come to Thailand, and before they know it, they can absolutely ruin their life and become just another statistic. In this video, I'm going to talk about that, and towards the end, I'm going to give you a few tips about how you can avoid that, how you can come to Thailand, avoid becoming hooked on all sorts of crazy stuff, and avoid becoming a statistic yourself. So on this channel, I've spoken a lot before about how Thailand isn't really a dangerous place. There's not so much stuff you need to look out for in terms of like getting robbed or anything like that. However, every single year, thousands of people come to Thailand and they go broke, they become alcoholics, all kinds of stuff. What I've found is, especially in the expat community, the most dangerous thing to expats coming to Thailand is in fact themselves. I've had lots of friends over the years that have been addicted to alcohol, that have been addicted to drugs, that have been addicted to sex, all kinds of things. And these are people that back in their home countries never ever would have even been like this. It was only because they came to Thailand that they kind of just ran wild, and most of them don't live here anymore, okay? They actually cannot live in the country because they can't resist acting like maniacs, basically. Now, there's even a saying here in Thailand, how do you end up with a small fortune by moving to Thailand? And let's start with a big one. Now, people throw that around and say, oh, that's so true. You know, if you go to Thailand and you want to lose, Thailand's the place to go to lose all your money. That's only true if you don't have any self-control and you can't control yourself. Okay, so for example, I've got a friend, well, I had a friend, no longer lives here. Still a friend, just doesn't live here. And he used to live in Chiang Mai. He moved down to Pattaya, and he would just go out to the bars in Thailand and he would drink every single night. He'd probably have like 1 or 2 nights off a month, and he just physically couldn't resist going out because he'd have so much fun. And that's true. If you've been to Thailand, if you've been to the bar areas and the bar scene, it is a lot of fun. You're going to need extreme willpower not to go out and kind of indulge in it. And if you don't have willpower, if you don't have the strength to do that, then you're going to blow at least, 1 to 2,000 baht a night on alcohol, maybe 2,000 baht a night taking a girl home. And before you know it, I've got friends that have lived out here and they've been going through 100,000 baht, 150,000 baht, like it was nothing every single month. And no matter what they do, they can't not do it, until the point where many of them eventually just have to move back to their home countries. I've got another friend and he was always bringing girls back to his place, right? So he was bar finding girls, bringing them back. And as a result of that, he was constantly getting himself in trouble. Yeah, he was constantly fighting and bickering. They were calling the cops on him, all of this crazy stuff. And it was because he was basically addicted to going out and picking up bar girls. Now, he didn't even drink that much. He would just go to the bar and pick up bar girls. And you'll find loads of people like this. There are loads of expats in Thailand that just are consumed by the madness of addiction. There's different types, right? There'd be people that will just sit in the bars and just drink all of the time, pretty much like your alcoholics. There are other people who just go to the bars and they're just constantly trying to bar find girls and constantly trying to get laid for whatever reason. Maybe they never got laid before in their home country. They come to Thailand, it triggers something in them and they just can't stop. And you'll even find people in Thailand that go out and they're always taking drugs. Believe it or not, there are foreigners that come to Thailand who actually go out and take drugs. Now, this is one of the most stupidest things you could ever do. I mean, there was a story a few years back of a young guy who was like 25, 26. He was caught selling E's or something like that. He had a few ecstasy on him, like maybe 50 or 100, not a lot. And they gave him 50 years. 50 years for being in possession of a few ecstasy pills. And believe it or not, I know people out here in Thailand, I've met people who are well into drugs. Like, talk about a bad place to come if that's what you're into. I know people that have families who are well into drugs, who will go out in Thailand and will take drugs, and will go to the bars and will take drugs. And it's absolutely insane. Brian Flowers, has got another YouTube channel. He was speaking about this before, and he was saying how foreigners will actually move to Pattaya, who are already alcoholics from foreign countries. And he said what they do is they do it so basically people don't notice their alcoholism, right? So essentially they're surrounded by a bunch of other alcoholics, whereas in a foreign country, in their home country, they'd be on a park bench, whereas in Thailand, they're just wandering around Pattaya amongst a bunch of other alcoholics, and people don't notice that they're alcoholics. So they actually come to Thailand to hide their alcoholism. But it's so easy to do. It can just trap anybody. You know, I've been in habits before in the past, I'll openly admit it, where, you know, I've been going out once a week with my friends, and then all of a sudden started going out twice a week. Never really did more than that, but I've been in positions where I've been going out getting drunk like twice a week for like a few months in a row. And before I came to Thailand, I didn't drink at all, like at all. I did not drink at all until I came to Thailand, until I was like 26 or 27, start drinking alcohol. So if you're not careful, it can really pull you in, and it can, you know, suck you under, and then it will spit you out. What I'd say to you if you're coming to Thailand and you're concerned about this is, and I know a lot of you are, because I get messages, this is another thing I want to say, I get messages from people who are clearly mentally ill and send me emails or send me private messages, and they're not all there in the head, and they want to come out here. Stay in your home country, right? If you have problems with addiction of any kind, and you know you can't, and if you've been an alcoholic, if you've been an alcoholic in the UK, going to a pub, which is just terrible and crap and boring, and nobody would ever want to go. That's why I never drank in England, because it's so shit. If you get addicted to going there, then when you come to Thailand, it's going to be game over for you. The best way to avoid this is to, in my opinion, is to surround yourself with good people. All right. When you come to Thailand, foreigners have a tendency to bond with other foreigners by virtue of the fact that you're here in the same place. You do have something in common with in that regard, but it doesn't necessarily mean these people are on your level. Okay, you might, if they're out drinking every single day, or if they are encouraging you to go out to the bars and drink all the time, you might be here because you want to be a digital nomad, you want to start an online business, you want to be productive, and better yourself. They don't necessarily want to do that. So don't get confused and don't get tricked by the fact that just because you have something in common in the sense that you both are in Thailand, most Thai expats won't have your best interests at heart. They're generally pretty selfish. A lot of people are running away from something. So you have to be very, very careful who you hang around with. That's the best way to avoid going down that path towards becoming a pisshead in Pattaya, or, you know, just maybe even taking drugs and stuff, right? I know this sounds obvious, this is stuff you should have been taught when you were a kid, but amazingly, a lot of the adults out here in Thailand, the expats, even the older crowd, have the mentality of fucking small children. So you really have to be wary of that, and don't follow the crowd just because you have something in common with them. Of course, if you like drugs and you're thinking of coming to Thailand, just don't come to Thailand, full stop. Go to Colombia, go somewhere else. This is not the country to come to if you're into drugs. Scrub it off your list, go somewhere else where you're not going to get thrown in jail for the rest of your life. A final tip that I'll give you, and I think I've spoken about this in other videos, is don't live in a party town. You know, I live in Chiang Mai. There's enough nightlife that you can have a bit of fun, but if you went there every day, you would become bored of it and it wouldn't be fun. If you live in Pattaya, you can go out every night and it'll be fun every night. There's so much stuff to do. It's very, very easy to just continuously go out. You want to live in a place where, you know, you can go out once a week, once every couple of weeks, have your fun. But if you keep doing it, you're going to get bored. Because the thing is, you can always go for a weekend away. You know, you can always fly down to Pattaya, or you can always fly down to Bangkok for a weekend. and party your ass off if that's what you want to do. And then you don't run the risk of it being outside on your doorstep, all right, where you can go out and it's just too easy. You can avoid becoming a statistic. You can live in Thailand sustainably without becoming an addict, without becoming addicted to drugs, alcohol, and sex. It's there. It's it's the most dangerous thing for any expat, in my opinion. As I said, it's not spoken about enough, and it's what gets most people. You're far more likely to become an alcoholic than you are to get robbed or shot or stabbed or any of that stuff. So I hope you found this video interesting, guys. That is addiction in Thailand. If you did, make sure you give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe. And also, if you are interested in coming to Thailand, like I say, check out that link there. It's going to be very, very helpful for you. And if you like this video, then you're probably going to like this video as well. That's all for now, guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.